Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Dakota, watching the stars through the main window. The ship had been traveling for 3 weeks, mapping new star systems at the edge of human space. It was quiet work, but Jake enjoyed the peace. His crew was small but skilled. They had been together for 2 years now. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange on the sensors," said Ryan Porter from his station. Ryan was young but good at his job. He handled all communications for the ship. Jake walked over to look at Ryan's screen. "What kind of strange?" "There's a ship out there. It's not like anything in our database. The design is completely different from human ships." Jake felt his heart beat faster. First contact with aliens was always possible, but it had never happened to him before. How far away? "About 2 million kilometers. It's moving toward us slowly." "Red alert," Jake called out. The bridge lights changed to red, and alarms sounded throughout the ship. "All hands to stations. Lisa, I need you on the bridge." Lisa Rodriguez appeared on the bridge within minutes. She was the chief engineer and could fix anything. Her dark hair was tied back, and she had grease on her hands from working in the engine room. "What's happening, Captain?" Lisa asked. "We might have company. Unknown vessel approaching." Dr. Amanda Clark also came to the bridge. She was the ship's doctor, a calm woman with blonde hair and steady hands. "Are we expecting trouble?" "I don't know yet," Jake said. "Ryan, try to contact them." Ryan worked at his station for several minutes. "I'm getting a response, Captain. They're using a form of mathematics to communicate. It's basic, but clear." "What are they saying?" "They want to meet. They seem peaceful." Jake thought for a moment. This was the moment every captain trained for but hoped would never come. "Tell them we agree to meet, but keep us at a safe distance." The alien ship came into view an hour later. It was beautiful and strange. The hull looked like it was made of crystal, and it seemed to glow with a soft blue light. It was twice the size of the Dakota and moved with grace through space. "Amazing," whispered Dr. Clark. "Look at the design. It's like nothing we've ever built." "Their technology is clearly more advanced than ours," Lisa said. "Look at those energy readings. Their power source is incredible." A new voice came through, the communication system. It was strange and musical. "Greetings, humans of the vessel Dakota. I am Commander Veltar of the Zephyrian Empire. We wish to learn about your species." Jake stepped forward. "This is Captain Jake Morrison. We welcome peaceful contact with your people." "Your species is unknown to us," Veltar said. "You appear to be primitive, but you have achieved space travel. This is interesting." Jake felt a little annoyed at being called primitive, but he kept his voice calm. "We may not be as advanced as you, but we've learned to survive." "Survival is not difficult when one has proper technology," Veltar replied. "We have mastered our environment completely. Our ships never fail, our systems never break down." Lisa raised an eyebrow. "That's quite a claim." For the next 2 hours, both crews shared information about their species. The Zephyrians were tall, thin beings with pale skin that seemed to glow. They had large eyes and moved with smooth, careful motions. They came from a perfect world where everything was controlled and organized. "We do not understand," Veltar said, "how your species survived without advanced technology. Your history speaks of wars, disasters, and struggle. Why did you not simply fix these problems with better tools?" "Sometimes the tools aren't available," Jake explained. "Sometimes you have to make do with what you have. Our people learned to adapt." "Adaptation is inefficient," another Zephyrian voice said. "Proper planning eliminates the need for adaptation." Dr. Clark smiled. "That works until something unexpected happens." As if her words were a prediction, Ryan's station suddenly lit up with warnings. "Captain, massive solar flare incoming. It's huge. Much bigger than anything we've seen." "All hands. Prepare for solar storm," Jake announced. "Lisa, get to engineering. Make sure our shielding is ready. Our ship systems will protect us," Veltar said calmly. "Zephyrian technology is superior to such natural events." The solar flare hit both ships like a giant wave of energy. The Dakota shook violently, and lights flickered throughout the ship. Jake heard Lisa shouting orders in the engine room over the communication system. "Backup power online," Lisa called out. "Primary systems are down, but we're still flying." Jake looked out at the Zephyrian ship. It was in trouble. The beautiful crystal hull was cracking, and the blue glow was fading. Pieces of the ship were breaking off and floating away. "Commander Veltar, do you need assistance?" Jake asked. There was a long pause before Veltar replied. His voice sounded different now, worried and confused. "Our systems have failed. This should not be possible. Our technology does not fail." "Sometimes it does," Jake said gently. "That's why we build backup systems." "We do not have backup systems. They are unnecessary with perfect technology." The Zephyrian ship was falling toward the nearby planet. Jake could see it breaking apart as it fell. The Dakota was also damaged and losing power, but Lisa was already working on repairs. "Jake," Lisa called from engineering, "we're going down, too. I can't stop it, but I can control where we land." "Do your best," Jake replied. He turned to his crew. "Everyone prepare for crash landing. Ryan, send out a distress signal. Amanda, get the medical bay ready. We're going to have a rough day." The planet below them looked hostile and dangerous. It had huge storms, vast deserts, and thick forests. As both ships fell toward the surface, Jake wondered if either crew would survive what was coming next. Jake Morrison woke up with dirt in his mouth and pain in his head. The USS Dakota had crashed into the rocky ground of the strange planet. Smoke was coming from several parts of the ship. He could hear his crew members calling out to each other. "Everyone, report in," Jake called out as he stood up slowly. His left arm hurt, but it was not broken. "Ryan here, Captain. I'm okay, but my station is completely destroyed." Lisa checking in. "The engine room is a mess, but I'm alive." Amanda here. "I have some cuts, but nothing serious. Already treating injured crew members." Jake looked around the damaged bridge. Through a broken window, he could see the Zephyrian ship in the distance. It had crashed much harder than the Dakota. Pieces of the crystal hull were scattered everywhere. "Captain," Ryan said, "I'm picking up weak signals from the alien ship. Some of them are still alive." Jake made a decision that would change everything. "We need to help them. Amanda, grab your medical kit. Lisa, bring whatever tools you can carry. Ryan, try to establish contact." The planet outside was harsh and unforgiving. The air was breathable but thin. The ground was covered with sharp rocks and strange plants that seemed to move when no wind was blowing. The sky was a dark orange color, and two small suns hung low on the horizon. "This place gives me the creeps," Ryan said as they walked toward the alien crash site. "Stay alert," Jake replied. "We don't know what kind of creatures live here." They found the Zephyrian ship broken into 3 large pieces. Several aliens were sitting outside, looking lost and confused. Commander Veltar was among them. His pale skin was now gray and his large eyes showed fear. "Commander Veltar," Jake called out. "We're here to help." Veltar looked up with surprise. "Captain Morrison, your ship crashed as well. Why are you not waiting for rescue?" "Because waiting isn't always the best option," Jake replied. "How many of your people are hurt?" 7 of us survived the crash. 3 are injured badly, but our medical equipment is destroyed. We cannot help them. Doctor, Amanda Clark stepped forward with her medical bag. "Let me take a look at them." Veltar seemed confused. "You would help us, but we are not your species." "That doesn't matter," Amanda said simply. "You're hurt, and I'm a doctor." While Amanda worked on the injured Zephyrians, Lisa began examining the wreckage of both ships. She pulled out pieces of metal, wire, and electronic components. "What are you doing?" asked a Zephyrian named Kethra. She was a scientist and seemed very interested in Lisa's work. "Salvaging," Lisa replied. "Looking for anything we can use. Your ship has some interesting technology. Maybe we can combine it with our equipment." "But everything is broken," Kethra said. "When Zephyrian technology breaks, it cannot be fixed without proper facilities." Lisa smiled. "Watch and learn." She took a piece of the Zephyrian crystal hull and examined it carefully. Then she found a damaged power cell from the Dakota and began connecting wires. Within an hour, she had created a small device that could purify water. "Impossible," Kethra whispered. "You made our technology work with your primitive tools." "It's not magic," Lisa explained. "It's just problem solving. When something breaks, you figure out how to fix it or make it work differently." Meanwhile, Ryan was studying the planet's weather patterns. Dark clouds were forming in the distance, and the wind was getting stronger. "Captain, we need shelter," Ryan reported. "There's a big storm coming and it looks nasty." Veltar looked worried. "Our environmental suits are damaged. We cannot survive a storm without proper protection." "Then we'll build protection," Jake said. The Zephyrians watched in amazement as the humans began building a shelter. They used pieces from both crashed ships, rocks from the ground, and even some of the strange local plants. Lisa showed them how to dig foundations and stack materials to create walls. "This is incredible," Veltar said to Jake. "Your people create solutions from nothing." "Not from nothing," Jake replied. "From whatever is available. That's how humans have always survived." Dr. Amanda finished treating the injured Zephyrians. She had used local plants to make bandages and created antiseptic from ship chemicals. The aliens were shocked that she could heal without advanced medical machines. "How do you know which plants are safe?" asked an injured Zephyrian named Morak. "I test them carefully," Amanda explained. "First on small samples, then on myself, then on the wound. It's risky, but it works." "You would risk your own safety to help us?" Morak asked. "That's what doctors do," Amanda said simply. As the storm approached, the mixed group of humans and aliens worked together to finish the shelter. The Zephyrians were clumsy at first, not used to working with their hands, but they learned quickly. "Your species is remarkable," Veltar said to Jake as they secured the last wall panel. "We have always believed that intelligence meant avoiding problems, but you embrace problems and solve them." "Problems make us stronger," Jake replied. "Every challenge we face teaches us something new." The storm hit with incredible force. Wind howled around their shelter, and rain pounded on the roof. Lightning flashed constantly and the ground shook with thunder. The Zephyrians huddled together in fear, but the humans remained calm. "How are you not afraid?" Kethra asked Lisa. "I'm afraid," Lisa admitted. "But fear doesn't help solve problems, so I focus on what needs to be done." Ryan was monitoring the storm with a makeshift weather station he had built from ship parts. "The storm should pass in about 6 hours, he announced. 6 hours, Veltar repeated. "On our world, storms are controlled. They last exactly as long as needed for agricultural purposes. Natural storms don't follow schedules," Ryan said. "They do what they want, we just have to adapt." As the night went on, the humans shared their food with the Zephyrians. It was simple emergency rations, but the aliens found it strange and interesting. "Your food is very different from ours," Morak said. "We eat whatever we can find," Amanda explained. "Humans are omnivores. We can survive on many different types of food." "We require specific nutrients," Kethra said. "Without our food synthesizers, we will starve." "Maybe not," Lisa said thoughtfully. "I saw some plants outside that might work. Tomorrow, when the storm passes, we can test them." By morning, the storm had ended. The mixed group emerged from their shelter to find the landscape changed. New rivers had formed and some of the strange plants had grown larger. "The planet is alive," Veltar observed. "It changes constantly. That's why we need to stay flexible," Jake said. "Ready to change with it." As they began planning their next steps, the Zephyrians looked at the humans with new respect. They were beginning to understand that survival wasn't just about having the right tools. It was about having the right mindset. 3 days had passed since the crash. The mixed group of humans and Zephyrians had established a routine. Every morning they would check their equipment, gather water, and search for food. The aliens were slowly learning human ways of survival. Jake Morrison was teaching Commander Veltar how to read the sky for weather signs when Ryan Porter came running toward them. "Captain, we have a problem," Ryan said, breathing hard. "Big problem." "What is it?" Jake asked. There are creatures watching. Us. I counted at least 12 of them on the ridge. They've been there for an hour. Jake looked toward the rocky ridge Ryan was pointing at. He could see movement between the rocks, but the creatures were staying hidden. What do they look like? Jake asked. Like nothing I've ever seen. 6 legs about the size of a large dog, but with long necks and sharp teeth. And Ryan, they're working together, moving in patterns. Veltar looked worried. On our world, we eliminated all dangerous creatures centuries ago. We do not know how to deal with predators. Well, you're about to learn, Jake said. He called out to his crew. Everyone gather around. We need to talk. Lisa Rodriguez came over, wiping her hands on a cloth. She'd been working on a new water filter. Dr. Amanda Clark joined them, carrying her medical bag. The Zephyrians also gathered, looking nervous. We're being watched by local predators, Jake explained. They seem intelligent, and they're hunting. In a pack. We need to be ready. Can we not simply avoid them? Asked Kethra, the Zephyrian scientist. Maybe, Jake said. But avoiding them means we can't search for food or materials. We'll starve if we stay in one place too long. Ben Carter, the Dakota security officer, stepped forward. He was a big man with steady hands and calm eyes. I've been watching them too, Captain. They're testing us, seeing how we react. What do you mean? Morak asked. The injured Zephyrian was feeling better after Amanda's treatment. They're smart, Ben explained. They're not just hunting for food. They're studying us, learning our habits. Veltar looked confused. How can you know what they are thinking? Experience, Ben said simply. Humans have dealt with predators for thousands of years. We learned to think like them. As if responding to their conversation, the creatures on the ridge began moving. They came down from the rocks slowly, staying in formation. In daylight, they looked even more dangerous. Their skin was dark gray and their eyes glowed yellow. Acid dripped from their mouths, burning the ground where it landed. There are 15 of them, Ryan counted. And they're surrounding us. The Zephyrians moved closer together, fear clear on their faces. They had no experience with this kind of danger. Stay calm, Jake ordered. Ben, what's your assessment? Ben studied the creatures carefully. They're pack hunters. The smaller ones will attack first to test our defenses. The big ones will come after we're tired. So what do we do? Lisa asked. We don't run, Ben said. Running triggers their chase instinct. We stand our ground and show them we're dangerous too. But we have no weapons, Veltar said. We'll make weapons, Jake replied. Lisa, what can you give us? Lisa looked around at their supplies. I can make spears from ship metal and local wood. Maybe some simple clubs. Give me 20 minutes. We might not have 20 minutes, Ryan said. The creatures were getting closer. Darching picked up a large rock and threw it hard at the nearest creature. It hit the animal in the shoulder and the creature backed away, making angry sounds. Good, Ben said. They can be hurt. That means they can be scared. Amanda was already gathering supplies. I can make some kind of repellent from the ship's chemicals, something that might keep them away. Do it fast, Jake said. The largest creature, clearly the pack leader, stepped forward. It was twice the size of the others, with scars across its face. It stared directly at Jake and made a low, growling sound. It's challenging you, Captain, Ben said quietly. In pack animals, the leader always challenges the leader. What do I do? Jake asked. You challenge back. Show it you're not afraid. Jake stepped forward, making himself as tall as possible. He stared directly at the creature and shouted as loud as he could. The creature stopped growling and tilted its head, surprised. The Zephyrians watched in amazement as Jake continued his display. He picked up rocks and threw them at the ground near the creature, making loud noises. He waved his arms and kept shouting. Incredible, Veltar whispered. He is communicating with the beast. The pack leader took a step back. It was confused by Jake's behavior. This was not how prey was supposed to act. Lisa finished making the first spear and handed it to Ben. Here, sharp metal point, strong wooden handle. Ben tested the spear's balance. Perfect. Make more. Fast. Amanda had mixed several chemicals together in a container. This should smell terrible to them. Their sense of smell seems very strong. She threw the mixture toward the pack. When it hit the ground, it created a strong, bitter smell. The creatures immediately backed away, making distressed sounds. "It works," Ryan said. "They hate that smell." But the creatures didn't leave. They moved further back but continued to circle the camp. They were waiting for something. "They're patient," Ben observed. "They'll wait for us to make a mistake." As the day continued, the standoff continued. The humans worked on defenses while keeping watch on the creatures. The Zephyrians helped as they could, learning quickly. "I do not understand," Kethra said to Lisa. "How do you know what to do? This situation has never happened to you before." "No, but similar things have," Lisa replied. "Humans learn to apply old solutions to new problems. We adapt what we know to what we face." Evening was approaching. The creatures became more active as the light faded. "They're night hunters," Ben realized. "They were waiting for dark." "Then we need light," Jake said. "Lots of it," Lisa nodded. "I can make torches from ship fuel and local materials. Fire will keep them away." "How can you be sure?" Veltar asked. "Most predators fear fire," Amanda explained. "It's been true on Earth for millions of years. Worth trying here." As darkness fell, the creatures began their attack. But the humans were ready. They had built a ring of fires around their camp and armed themselves with spears and clubs. When the first creature charged, Ben met it with his spear. The animal retreated, injured but not dead. The pack tried several more attacks, but each time the humans fought them off. The Zephyrians, inspired by human courage, joined the fight. Veltar picked up a club and stood beside Jake. "We fight together," Veltar declared. After an hour of failed attacks, the pack leader finally decided the humans were too dangerous. With a series of calls to its pack, it led them away into the darkness. "They're leaving," Ryan announced. The group sat down, exhausted, but victorious. The Zephyrians looked at the humans with new respect. "You faced death without fear," Morak said to Ben. "I was afraid," Ben admitted. "But fear can make you stronger if you use it right." "Your species is remarkable," Veltar said to Jake. "You turn every challenge into an opportunity to show your strength." "That's how we survived long enough to reach the stars," Jake replied. As they settled down for the night, keeping the fires burning, the Zephyrians began to understand something important about humans. They were not just survivors, they were warriors who fought for each other and never gave up. A week had passed since the predator attack. The camp had grown more organized and secure. The humans had taught the Zephyrians many survival skills, and the aliens were becoming more confident. But their biggest challenge was yet to come. Ryan Porter was monitoring the weather equipment Lisa had built from ship parts when he noticed something troubling on his readings. "Captain Morrison," Ryan called out with worry in his voice. "You need to see this." Jake walked over to look at the simple weather station. The pressure readings were dropping fast and the wind patterns looked dangerous. "What am I looking at?" Jake asked. "A massive storm system," Ryan replied. "Much bigger than the one before. It's covering half the continent and heading straight for us." Commander Veltar joined them, followed by Dr. Amanda Clark and Lisa Rodriguez. The Zephyrian leader had learned to read basic weather signs from Ryan over the past few days. "How long do we have?" Veltar asked. "Maybe 18 hours, Ryan estimated. "But Captain, this storm is different. The readings show winds over 200 kilometers per hour and temperatures dropping to freezing." "Our shelter won't survive that," Lisa said, examining their current camp. "We need to move to higher ground or find better protection." Kethra, the Zephyrian scientist, looked scared. "On our world, we would simply move to underground facilities during severe weather." "Do such places exist here?" "We'll have to find out," Jake said. "But first we need to consider all our options." Ben Carter, who had been scouting the area, returned with important news. "Captain, I found something about 5 kilometers north. There's a series of caves in the mountainside. They look deep and stable." "Caves could work," Amanda said. "Natural protection from wind and cold." "But 5 kilometers is a long way to carry our supplies," Lisa pointed out. And we don't know what might be living in those caves. Veltar looked confused. Why would you go to an unknown place? It could be more dangerous than the storm. Because staying here means certain death, Jake explained. Going to the caves gives us a chance. Sometimes you have to choose between two dangerous options. This is madness, said Morak, the injured, Zephyrian who was now mostly healed. Intelligent beings should avoid unnecessary risks. There's no such thing as unnecessary risk when your life depends on it, Ben replied. Risk is just another problem to manage. Jake made the decision. We move to the caves. Everyone pack only what we absolutely need. Food, water, medical supplies, and tools. Everything else stays behind. The next few hours were busy as both crews prepared for the journey. Lisa dismantled the most important equipment and packed it into portable bundles. Amanda gathered all medical supplies and emergency food. Ryan packed his communication gear and weather monitoring equipment. The Zephyrians struggled with the concept of leaving things behind. These instruments contain valuable data, Kethra protested as Jake told her to abandon a damaged computer. Data won't keep you alive in a storm, Jake said gently. Learn to let go of what doesn't matter. The journey to the caves was difficult. The terrain was rocky and steep. The Zephyrians, who were not used to physical exertion, struggled to keep up, but the humans helped them, sharing the load and offering encouragement. I cannot continue, Morak said after 2 hours of walking. My legs are too weak. Yes, you can, Amanda said firmly. Ben and I will help you. We don't leave anyone behind. Why? Morak asked. I am slowing down the group. Logically, you should abandon me to save the others. That's not how humans work, Ben said as he supported Morak's weight. We're stronger together than apart. Veltar watched this interaction with growing amazement. Your species values individual lives over group efficiency. This should make you weak, but somehow it makes you stronger. Caring for each other gives us reason to keep fighting, Jake explained. When you know someone depends on you, you find strength you didn't know you had. As they climbed higher, the weather began to change. The wind picked up and dark clouds covered the sky. The temperature started dropping rapidly. We need to move faster, Ryan said, checking his portable weather device. The storm is coming sooner than I thought. They reached the caves just as the first heavy winds hit. The caves were deep and dry, extending far back into the mountain, but they were not empty. There are bones here, Lisa observed, shining her flashlight around the cave entrance. Something large used to live here. Used to being the important phrase, Ben said, examining the bones. These are old. Whatever lived here is long gone. The Zephyrians were hesitant to enter the caves. This feels wrong, Kethra said. We are invading the territory of another creature. The creature is dead, Jake pointed out. And we need shelter. Sometimes survival means using whatever is available. They set up camp deep inside the cave system, far from the entrance where the wind couldn't reach them. Lisa and Ryan worked together to create a ventilation system using small gaps in the cave walls. Amanda established a medical area in a side chamber. The storm hit with incredible fury. Even deep in the caves, they could hear the wind howling. Outside, the temperature dropped so fast that ice began forming at the cave entrance. I have never experienced weather like this, Veltar said, shivering despite the extra clothing the humans had shared with him. Neither have we, Jake admitted, but we adapt to whatever comes. Katie Newman, the Dakota's navigator, had been quiet during most of the journey. Now she spoke up. Captain, I've been studying the cave system. These aren't natural caves. What do you mean? Jake asked. The walls are too smooth and the passages follow patterns. I think they were carved by intelligent beings. Ancient aliens? Ryan suggested. Maybe, Katie said. Or maybe the same creatures that left those bones. Either way, someone built this place as a shelter. The storm raged for 3 days. During that time, the mixed group of humans and Zephyrians grew closer. They shared stories, taught each other games, and learned about their different cultures. Your people have a saying, Veltar said to Jake on the second day. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I am beginning to understand this. You're learning, Jake replied. Every challenge teaches us something. On the third day, Kethra made an important discovery. Deep in the cave system, she found ancient writing on the walls. The symbols were unlike anything either species had seen before. This is incredible, she said excitedly. These caves were built by a civilization that no longer exists. They used this place exactly as we are using it now, for shelter from storms. So, we're not the first ones to figure this out, Amanda observed. Intelligence finds similar solutions to similar problems. But they survived long enough to build this place, Lisa added. That gives me hope. When the storm finally ended, they emerged from the caves to find the landscape completely changed. New rivers had formed and many of the landmarks they remembered were gone. The planet has been reshaped, Ryan observed. Our old camp is probably underwater now. Good thing we moved, Ben said. As they stood outside the caves looking at the transformed world, Veltar turned to Jake with something that looked like respect and gratitude. Captain Morrison, he said formally, your decision to move to these caves saved all our lives. On behalf of all Zephyrians, I thank you. We saved each other, Jake replied. That's what people do when they work together. The experience had changed both groups. The Zephyrians no longer saw humans as primitive, and the humans had gained appreciation for Zephyrian knowledge and patience. They were no longer two separate crews. They were one survival team. 2 weeks had passed since they found the ancient caves. The mixed group of humans and Zephyrians had created a comfortable living space in the underground shelter. They had organized work schedules, shared meals, and even established a small workshop where Lisa Rodriguez continued to repair equipment. Ryan Porter was working on his communication device when he suddenly jumped up with excitement. Captain Morrison, I'm getting a signal, Ryan announced. It's faint, but it's definitely a spacecraft. Jake hurried over to Ryan's makeshift communication station. Can you tell whose ship it is? It looks like human military frequencies, Ryan replied. But there's something else too. A different type of signal on a frequency I don't recognize. Commander Veltar joined them, followed by the other Zephyrians. Over the past 2 weeks, Veltar had changed greatly. His pale skin had gained some color from working outdoors, and his movements were more confident. The second signal is Zephyrian, Veltar said after listening carefully. It is a rescue ship from our fleet. Both our people are looking for us, Jake said with relief. Ryan, can you contact them? I'm trying, Captain. The signal is still weak. We might need to get to higher ground to establish good communication. Ben Carter, who had been exploring the area around the caves, returned with news. There's a high plateau about 2 kilometers from here. Good view of the sky and open ground for landing ships. Then that's where we need to go, Jake decided. Everyone pack up, we're moving to the plateau. The journey to the plateau was much easier than their previous desperate trek to the caves. Both humans and Zephyrians had become stronger and more skilled at moving through the difficult terrain. The aliens no longer complained about physical exertion or leaving equipment behind. I cannot believe how much I have changed, Kethra said to Dr. Amanda Clark as they walked. 2 weeks ago I could not carry my own supplies. Now I am helping others. Physical strength is just part of it, Amanda replied. You've also gained mental strength, confidence in yourself. Is this what humans call personal growth? Kethra asked. Exactly, Amanda smiled. Challenges make us discover abilities we didn't know we had. When they reached the plateau, Ryan immediately began setting up his communication equipment. Within an hour, he had established contact with both rescue fleets. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the USS Dakota. Jake spoke into the communication device. We have survivors from both human and Zephyrian crews. We are all alive and in good condition. The response came quickly from the human ship. Captain Morrison, this is Admiral Sarah Johnson aboard the USS Phoenix. We have been searching for you for 2 weeks. What is your condition? We are healthy and ready for pickup, Jake replied. We also have 7 Zephyrian survivors with us who need assistance. There was a pause before the Admiral responded. Understood, Captain. We are coordinating with the Zephyrian rescue fleet. Both ships will land within the hour. Veltar was speaking to his own people in the musical Zephyrian language. His conversation seemed to be causing some surprise on the other end. "What are they saying?" Jake asked. "They are amazed that we survived," Veltar replied, "and they are shocked that we worked together with humans. They want to know how this was possible." "What did you tell them?" "I told them that humans are not primitive," Veltar said with a smile. "I told them that humans are masters of survival, and that we learned much from you." As they waited for the rescue ships, the mixed group sat together on the plateau, looking out at the hostile planet that had been their home for 2 weeks. The landscape was beautiful in its own dangerous way, with strange rock formations and alien plants moving in the wind. "I will miss this place," said Morak, the Zephyrian who had been injured in the crash. "It taught me things about myself that I never knew." "It taught all of us," Jake replied. "Sometimes the worst situations bring out the best in people." Lisa was dismantling her workshop equipment when she found something interesting. "Hey, look at this," she called out. She held up a small device that glowed with soft blue light. "That's Zephyrian technology," Kethra said with surprise, "but it has been modified with human components." "We've been combining our technologies without realizing it," Lisa said. "Human engineering with Zephyrian power sources. It works better than either one alone." "Perhaps that is the lesson of our experience," Veltar observed. "Different species, working together, can achieve more than either could alone." The rescue ships appeared on the horizon just as Veltar finished speaking. The human ship, USS Phoenix, was large and military-looking, with heavy armor and weapon systems. The Zephyrian vessel was elegant and crystalline, similar to Veltar's original ship but much larger. Both ships landed on the plateau with careful precision. Admiral Johnson emerged from the Phoenix, followed by a medical team and several officers. From the Zephyrian ship came a group of tall, graceful aliens wearing formal robes. "Captain Morrison," Admiral Johnson said as she approached, "your survival report will be very interesting to read." "Admiral, it's good to see you," Jake replied. "But I think Commander Veltar's report will be even more interesting." The Zephyrian leader who had emerged from the rescue ship approached Veltar with obvious concern. He spoke rapidly in their language, clearly asking many questions. Veltar responded calmly, gesturing toward the humans. The conversation continued for several minutes, with the Zephyrian leader becoming more and more surprised. "What is he saying?" Admiral Johnson asked Jake quietly. "Veltar is explaining how we survived together," Jake replied. "I think he's having trouble convincing his people that humans aren't primitive." The conversation ended when Veltar walked over to Jake and extended his hand in the human gesture of greeting that he had learned. "Captain Morrison," Veltar said formally, "I wish to make an official statement to both our peoples." "Go ahead," Jake replied. Veltar turned to address both rescue crews. "For my entire life, I believed that advanced technology was the key to survival. I believed that struggle was a sign of failure, and that intelligent beings should avoid all hardship." He paused, looking at each human crew member. "These humans taught me that I was wrong. They showed me that strength comes not from avoiding challenges, but from facing them with courage and creativity. They taught me that the most advanced tool is not a machine, but the ability to adapt and overcome." The Zephyrian leader looked shocked. "Commander Veltar, are you saying that these primitive beings taught you?" "I am saying that these remarkable beings saved my life and the lives of my crew," Veltar replied firmly. "And I am saying that we have much to learn from each other." Admiral Johnson stepped forward. "If I may, I think both our species could benefit from continued cooperation. What do you think, Captain Morrison?" "I think that's an excellent idea," Jake replied. "We've proven that humans and Zephyrians work well together." Over the next hour, as both crews prepared to leave the planet, arrangements were made for continued contact between the two species. Cultural exchange programs were discussed and plans were made for joint exploration missions. Dr. Amanda Clark exchanged medical information with Zephyrian healers. Lisa Rodriguez shared engineering techniques with Zephyrian technicians. Ryan Porter discussed communication methods with their signal specialists. As the ships prepared for departure, Jake took one last look at the planet that had changed everything. The hostile world had nearly killed them, but it had also brought two very different species together. "Ready to go home, Captain?" Ben Carter asked. "Yes," Jake replied. "But I think home is going to be a lot more interesting now." The ships lifted, off together, carrying humans and Zephyrians who were no longer strangers, but friends who had survived together against impossible odds. In the months that followed, both species would remember the lessons learned on that hostile planet. The Zephyrians would begin training their people in basic survival skills, while humans would benefit from advanced Zephyrian technology. But most importantly, both species learned that intelligence and strength come in many forms, and that working together they could face any challenge the universe might present. The story of their survival would be told for generations, a reminder that the greatest victories come not from advanced weapons or perfect technology, but from the courage to help others and the wisdom to never give up.